Hey guys, welcome to the Color Me Mike podcast. So just a quick disclaimer up here at the top. Anything said during this podcast only reflects on me and or the guest. Sonity has nothing to do at all with anything that's being said here. Sonity is just a cool boba milk tea shop in Fremont, California that is kind enough to let us record the podcast here at their shop and kind enough to hook us up with some boba milk tea drinks. So everybody just chill and enjoy the episode. I didn't recognize you when you walked in. I was like, oh yeah, they're open. Come on in. I was just like, oh, okay. Let's see how to say, hey, that's PX. It's like, oh. Okay. Yeah. Oh, we've started, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So you do podcasts, just keep it about a fist away from you.
Fist away.
Yeah.
It's too far, huh?
Yeah, so it's too far. Go ahead and get it nice and down so we can see each other's face.
What a good example here.
I know. You
This
just do that, but it really helps to move it back and forth.
Move it back. No pun intended.
Yeah, maneuver it anyway. You do 2 podcasts, right?
Yeah,
so
but we do it on the phone.
Oh, okay. So you've never worked with a setup like this?
No, oh, thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. No, I don't even know what this is. This
okay,
set up with the camera.
So this, maneuvers, rotates. You want to get it nice and low so we can see each other's faces, but keep it about a fist away from you.
Fist away.
Yeah, about a fist.
Bend it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you
I
can
didn't
bend
want to break it.
No, they're meant to.
Stiff.
They're meant to be maneuvered. You can be as rough as you
I'm
want.
shorter, so I gotta be I think this is cool.
Asian delicate petiteness hands, none of that.
Is this
you can
a
do
paper
it.
straw?
Yeah. Do you want a regular straw?
Do they have?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they have regular straws. I like how you looked at the paper straw with such disdain. It's like, disgusting.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, that's not even why. It's like I want to be able to stab it in the.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I get it.
It's like
I get it. Yeah, you want the firmness so you can be aggressive with that.
Yeah, because with the Capri Suns, how I think it's so frustrating when you break the Capri Sun straw and it's like so little, and then now you have no more straw.
There you go. PX tackles the hard issues. Yeah, there you go. Hey, I have nothing like broke my heart more than when I would try to, put that Capri Sun straw in and it would come out the other end. It was like, God damn it, I can't. How am I supposed to drink this thing now? Yeah.
The frustration is the child and as an adult because it still happens.
That's real. Hey, Capri Suns are good.
And then people be like, I do it on the bottom. I'm like, but what if you need to put it down?
Yeah.
Now you can't put it down because you stabbed it in the bottom.
Plus, doing it in the bottom. Yeah. Capri Suns, doing it in the bottom.
Or not getting a straw.
Yeah.
It was like the end of the world. You got to go start looking for an old Capri Sun that you had and grab the straw from. I'm just kidding.
But putting the straw on the bottom. Let me be very specific what I'm talking about doing it at the bottom. I just feel like that's cheating.
It is.
But
you can't put it down. You got to sip it in one sitting.
You should develop the skill in order to do that Capri Sun straw right?
There should be a manual. They should make the bottom metal so no one can even like a different type of metal.
One crazy thing I used to do with Capri Suns is I used to freeze them. I put them in the freezer. Then I would cut it up with scissors and eat it like a slushie.
My kids still do that.
Oh, really? All right. There you go.
They do that now.
Like we were talking about, I didn't recognize you when you walked in. So what is are you naturally curly hair or naturally straight hair?
Naturally curly hair. I know. I don't know how that happened either.
But I know the Filipinos with very naturally curly hair in the Philippines.
Yeah, and I embraced it like growing up.
They're definitely darker than you. But usually.
I think this is maybe the Chinese in me. I don't know.
Are you half?
I'm like an eighth.
An eighth. Okay, so
Chinese
that eighth is really expressing itself.
Yeah. It's like my dad's.
Yeah.
What's double the eighth? I can't do math like that. But yeah, I'm an eighth of whatever he's a quarter.
Okay, yeah. So it is an eighth. You did do the math. Congratulations, you're still an Asian. You're still an Asian. So
that's only because I know weed. Other than that, I would not know the quarters and the eighths.
Yeah, it's funny because I was just in the restroom. I was trying to figure out where you're from. It's like, she from Santa Cruz, and then the fact he said, "Yeah, I'm a little bit stupid." I was like, "Okay, that makes total sense." Especially the way you talk, and I love it. I mean, honestly, I love your voice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I love your voice. I know. I'm sure growing up as a woman with a deep voice, you probably didn't love. Did you ever grow to love it at some point?
I did. I grew to love it once I started doing comedy. Yeah. But before,
it's
I was
fantastic.
just it was annoying because then people would constantly be like, Sir, Mr. Floro,
I don't see
starting
that.
at high school, and people are like, "It's because you smoke cigarettes." I was like, "Nah, dude, I have a cousin that sounds just like me."
You know what it is? I think that's their failed attempt to flirt. Honestly, would you agree with me, Leslie? Still here? Would you agree with me? Like, especially young guys, Yeah, I think that's a
really?
failed attempt at flirtation.
I don't know.
More than anything, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna pull your hair, I'm gonna push you,
It's like,
I'm
sound
gonna
like
run away, I'm gonna
you
do a
sound like
Leslie
Mr.
leg, flirt and
Floro.
flee. No, but I think it's incredibly sexy. Would you agree with me, Leslie? Yeah, yeah.
No,
Leslie said
wait.
yes.
Telling
Yeah.
a story about Leslie, right? I told Leslie we do numerous amount of shows together, and she's never called me in the morning. And the one time she called me in the morning, she's like, "Hello, can I please speak to PX?" I was like, "Leslie, it's me." She's like, "Oh my God, you do sound like a dude." And I was like, "I told you, don't call me early in the morning because it's like, I don't know what it is out of the bass."
So it's even
It's
deeper.
like, it's been settling in my chest. So I sound even more like a man. And people test it. They're like, "Can I call you?" I'm like, "Yeah, what do you call me?" And they're like, "All right, I'll talk to you later, dude. This is weird." Especially guys. They're like turned on.
So Leslie was telling me outside of the podcast that you guys came up at San Jose Improv together.
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah,
mean like?
we were born? Well, she was
You-
doing it before me, so I remember watching Leslie.
I mean, are these
at the San Jose.
showcases or are these the open mics?
No, these were new. These are showcases. These were
Okay.
like new comedy college, San Francisco Comedy College, new showcases. And then we also did, American Me. American Me was one of the staples. Yeah, monthly American Me. And then from then we were just like BFFs. But she thought I was weird. she thought I was weird from the very, very beginning. Like I would give her gifts and shit. And she's like, "Oh, that's so sweet."
Why would you give her gifts?
I don't know, like came back from the Philippines. And you get pasalubongs and
Yeah,
stuff. And I was like,
yeah.
"Oh," and then you get a lot of stuff. And I was like, "Oh, let me give this away." So the
Okay.
first, and then from then on she started treating me like a friend. She's like,
Okay.
"Oh, she really likes me."
Yeah. You bribed your way into
Yeah,
her
I did.
heart,
Finally
essentially.
entered her
yeah.
heart. Yeah.
And then
now
she
we're best
started
friends.
booking you, bringing you as an opener.
Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah, that's why I did it. I'm
So
like,
you-
take this necklace.
You went to comedy college?
Yeah.
What was that like?
It's like, I don't know, overpriced school. Like, 'cause
Is it specifically for stand up or they do
for
improv?
stand up. So
You went there as well, Leslie.
yep, we went there. We met at different times. And she started before me, and then when I started going, like at the time, I was working, going to school. My second ex-husband was not working,
Okay.
and we just finished watching a show. And then I see the sign that says Comedy College. I'm like, let me hit it up. Well, Curtis Matthews, name drop. He was teaching the class, and they were doing a free class. And I was thinking, there's going to be clowns and wizards and like,
Wizards.
I don't know, comedy college. I was like, I could be anything. And there was a bunch of people. And then I found out you have to pay for the class. And I was like, fuck, okay.
Hey, fuck that.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the end of the class and see how it is. And then later on, I ended up emailing. And there you learn a lot. They're like talking about moving mic stands, which is a big pet peeve of mine that I noticed. Because then I'm like totally distracted from the mic stand that's not been moved. And it's just sitting there in front of the comic. Like,
They're open. No, you know what? That's funny you mentioned the mic stand because that's one thing like I like intentionally worked on like near the end of my set is getting that mic stand back and preparing it instead of just leaving it in my hand and like, hey, here you go.
Or not even
so-
doing anything. You're just
Yeah.
they're like in the microphone trying to put it back in.
Yeah, so like when I would see other comics do it, like I'd be like so impressed. Oh, they got the mic stand. It's like I don't care about their
Forget the
act,
jokes,
but yeah, it's like oh, they're such a professional. Like, it's like but
It's like little things like that that
Yeah.
we learned. And there's also
Yeah.
like writing, like we did joke writing and stuff like that. So I did the first class. And then I ended up emailing Curtis Matthews and saying like, I'm too broke. I've got 2 kids, an ex-husband that does not work at the time, my husband. So I can't do the class as much as I'd love to. He's like, you know what? If you would have wrote this in the contest we had, you would have won like free classes. And I was like, oh darn, I'll do it next year. And he's like, you know what? I'll give you 6 free classes.
all right.
And then after that, I started paying.
all right. Because usually amongst the comedy community, any sort of like comedy class is generally looked down upon.
Yeah,
but it
right.
sounds like this was actually helpful.
I loved it. I would never say like it was stupid. And there's a lot of people who do say it's stupid, and I hear them say, "Oh, like that's fucking dumb.
Yeah.
It's dumb."
But did they suck too?
Some of them don't. Some of them don't, and then some of them, yeah. It's
Okay.
like it's fortunate, and I'm like, well, you should. I don't know.
Well, it's hit or miss then. It
Yeah,
sounds like.
but I mean, there's other stuff like they do the group writing sessions that I've seen. I don't know if they talk about stuff like that, but I've attended a couple of the group writing sessions.
That's a funny one to me. Group writing. I
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't.
I tried
can't
a couple of
vibe
those.
with that.
Yeah.
It's just like
It's like a way to steal jokes from people.
No, but it's more so like, your comedy is very much, comes from your perspective and your life experiences, right? So it's like trying to work that out in a group session. All of a sudden, you're getting polluted by someone else's like perspective. I don't know, but obviously I've never tried it, so
Yeah.
maybe they'll. I'm sure it's helpful in that they'll probably help you look at your premise in a different way.
Right.
Right. Then it's up to you to figure out, well, how can you still make it you.
Right.
From your perspectives as opposed to, this is the complete opposite of Leslie's podcast. By the way. We didn't get close to
Now I
touching
gotta-
comedy. It was fantastic.
Okay,
but
I know. I'm curious. I gotta watch
It's my
that
favorite
season.
podcast. I'm gonna watch it at home, take notes. It's like,
I believe it.
no, but at least like for me, because I've been invited a few times by a few other comics. Hey, let's have like a writing session together, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
like no thanks. I don't. It's not for me. I don't think. Like that doesn't mean to say that I'm just like fantastic comic, but it's like no,
Prima
I
donna
want,
over here.
I want-
Ew,
no, but I
writing
feel like
sessions.
part of the process is figuring it out like on your own. How do
Yeah.
you make it work for you? Kind of thing.
Well, and that was the thing. I didn't really know what to expect. And I think how it ended up falling onto my lap was I was running an open mic. And then one of the comics, shout out to Patrick McDermott, he was like, hey, do you mind if we do like a writing session before the open mic? I'm like, yeah, I don't care. And then I like showed up early and it's just pretty much jokes that comics are like trying to like either keep, want to use, or just don't even know how to write jokes. And they just like attended the class. It was like maybe 4 or 5 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, hey, this is a joke I'm working on. And this is the punchline I have. And then you ever work on a joke and like you try it and you just love the joke so much, but you're like, I don't want to let it go. And it
Yeah.
just kills. I mean,
No,
I'm
it
sorry,
doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. And you're like, fuck, I really like this joke. That's like kind of the kind of stuff I learned like from it, but I'm not doing it regularly. Now I'm just getting stuff talking to regular comics like this.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, hey, you know what you should try? And I'm like, yeah. Like Gloria Magana and Pete Munoz, they'll be like, hey, you should try this. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'll try it. And I'm like, oh shit, it's fire. So
well, that's this
it's a
is a lot
blessing to have
about
those types of things.
this is a lot about you that you're open to that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was like, I don't know, like the Zoom open mics, the Zoom shows. A lot of people didn't like those. And there were some shows I was like, damn, this is like a real show.
Really?
Yeah, I was impressed. It was like 140 something people watching. And there was like maybe 10 people with their mics and their mics on, and then maybe 100 people with their videos on, so you could see all the little squares.
Whoa.
And then you can actually hear the laughs.
Oh.
It was a little delayed because of the internet, right? But you could hear the laugh. Like people were actually laughing at your joke, and it was in a different state too.
So that's
which made
a
it so
best
cool.
case scenario in terms of
Best case
Zoom.
scenario.
How
I
often
mean,
did that happen?
That
with Zoom
happened probably
shows?
once. Out of the 10, I probably did.
See
happened
events.
once.
Yeah. I mean, when those Zoom comedy shows were happening, I wasn't even in comedy yet.
When did you start?
I do. You know what? I think today or tomorrow might be my 1 year mark.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so I wasn't. Yeah,
What'd you learn so far?
Well, the mic. Get that sucker back by the end of your set. Make things smooth. I mean, I've learned a lot. I learned like tricks about because some of my bits can have a little bit more of a potential to like maybe offend the audience or like, put them off a little bit. Yeah, let's not open with that.
Right.
Let's get them on my side first.
Yeah.
Then,
That's a very good rule of thumb and something that you've observed early on in the comedy world, because that's like stuff that I was like, took maybe like 2 or 3 years. I'm like, fuck what they think. I think this is funny. And eventually you're like, okay, I need to stop thinking that. Like, do I want to make it as a comedian? Then I got to cater to the audience. You know what I mean? You got to win them over. So that's really good that you observed that. So now it's your 1 year. Oh, dang, you're like a baby.
Yeah, I'm a fetus at this point, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're out of the womb already.
yeah, I suppose, but no, yeah.
Maybe
so-
you're like in conception. You're like the sperm and the egg just met.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I learned that. What else about just little things? Like a big thing is don't get mad at the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Like it never does you any good to get mad at the audience if like, something's not working
Have you
out.
seen that?
I've seen it. I've done it myself.
You've done it?
I've fallen prey to it.
Really?
No, not recently.
Oh, okay.
But like early on, like maybe the
You've
first.
only been doing it for a year. Okay. I was like,
yeah.
when was this?
Well, I will have to say.
I want to
like,
hear your story. Yeah.
like I've actually found that me starting at a later age, like I'm 41 now, right?
Okay. Cool.
So I started like at 40. Am I older than you?
Yeah, you are.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wait, I'm offended. You thought I was older than
No,
you?
I thought we were like around the same age.
Yeah,
honestly.
no, we are. We're around the same age.
Okay.
I'm 39. I'm turning 40
Okay, yeah.
next
So it's not that much older.
year. No.
Well, it's because I don't have any kids. It adds years to
Right.
my life. There you go.
Still calling
Leslie
you
just
kuya.
gave a big thumbs up and kicked in the air there. No, but I've found it to be an advantage in terms of things like that because one, I mean, like all the like pettiness and the bitterness and the bullshit. I know, don't let it get to me. Mm-hmm. Like I mean, plus I'm a videographer. It's like any creative field, you deal with the same bullshit. Probably any job, honestly, you deal with the same bullshit. It's just more so in comedy, just because all comics were all fucked in the head a little bit, right?
I mean, that's why we're doing it.
Yeah,
right?
but it's a spectrum. Some people are further on the spectrum, so I'm able to navigate that a lot easier. I don't take things to heart.
So did it happen one time and then it never happened again? You like blew up at the comedy. Did you do
No,
a Kramer at the audience?
I would say I did it. I didn't do quite a Kramer, but
I don't know. I'm curious. 'Cause
The-
I've seen some like outbursts where like comics go to town with this audience member, and I'm just like, okay, that's just getting dark.
actually,
now.
you know what it was. It ties into another lesson. It was at an open mic, and what I was doing is, I knew what the bit I was doing wasn't working, but I knew if I started just getting mad at the audience members, started talking shit, the comics would laugh. So there's that thing about.
So you switched your audience.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is like, yeah, we're not there to make comics laugh. We're there to make the
Right.
audience laugh. So that's another lesson,
learn
right?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's
That's
they're
good.
kind
That's
of
a
like
good
tied
learning,
two and two together. Well, that's I know like you and Leslie, you guys do showcases all the time, but as someone like I'm starting to get like somewhat like regularly booked. But when you're mostly an open micer, I mean that's all you have.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
So you if you're like I know there's definitely comics. I'm not going to name any names who are like 5 years in, they're still at the open mic level.
and they don't even want to do showcases.
I feel like you get trapped.
Yeah,
You get trapped, and then
and you get comfortable.
You get comfortable, but you can also get stuck in this box where the only thing you're trying to do is make the comics laugh, and what we laugh at is way more fucked up and darker than what general audiences tend to
That's true.
go with, right?
Which I was gonna say about open micers. Me and Leslie have been doing. She's been doing it a little bit longer than I have, and I used to ask her. I'd be like, "Come to this mic with me." She's like, "Ew, no, I'm going home." I'm like, why would I? She's like, why would I want to go anywhere else other than the improv? I'm like, it's after, Leslie. Like, go, come with me to Woodham's. Come with me to the Caravan. And she'd be like, no. And then now all of a sudden she's like, come out, PX. Come out to the Caravan. Come out to Woodham's. I'm like, bitch. I was like, I was doing that a long time ago.
Well, I mean, you still got to get reps in
and
of
I
the
still
newer
go.
stuff,
Yeah,
right?
and when we go together, it's just like, oh, I mean,
just to like get it to the point where okay, I know where the beats are now. I can try it out. Like about 10 minutes, I just put it right in the middle. So I get them on my side, and then I still have time to recover if the new stuff doesn't work out, and still end strong.
no,
right?
it's still fun.
Yeah, but I feel like definitely comics who get stuck in that open mic rut. It's like well, it's hard because. I mean, you know how it is at open mics. It's like 99.9% comics, right? Like the ability for you to gauge your material accurately, it's really skewed. Because, like you say, comics laugh at more fucked up stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, if you're not at a point where you can't get guest sets, you can't get in front of real audiences. Like, you're only going to grow so much, and then it plays into that whole part. Well, okay, how do you actually? How do you? I want to say manipulate, but how do you? Or you're basically orchestrating the audience experience. You knowing how to get them on your side, and when you lose them, knowing how to recover, knowing how to basically deal when a joke doesn't work.
I don't know. I'm kind of curious about these other comics. I'm kind of curious about these other comics.
I'll name names afterwards.
Yeah. I want to know because they've been doing it for 5 years. I'm beginning to think maybe this isn't comedy for them, and this is like therapy. Like they're just like saying their thoughts. Like maybe they don't care about getting booked. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Yeah, because I would go to an open mic just strictly for that.
Yeah.
I would say it in the beginning of my set. I'm like, I'm not telling any jokes today. I'm gonna tell you guys what I did. Like. I did that at Woodham's and I did that at Caravan. I was like, yep, I served my third ex-husband his paperwork, everybody. Yeah, everybody. Okay. I get applause, and I'm like, yeah.
Okay, so there seems to be a pattern with you in marriage. it seems
what
like.
pattern?
What's third ex-husband?
Third ex-husband.
What's
Trust me, I did not want to get married a third time. She was a witness of that. She was a witness that. And I told him, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do it. And then I'm like, and then I came back and I'm like, bitch, I did it.
So why did you do it?
Because at the time I loved the person. I've known the guy for 23 years. Like we were convinced we were soulmates.
You grew up together almost, basically.
Yeah, we grew up together. He DJ'd my second wedding.
I almost spit on my boba, dude.
This is all true. Yeah.
So what's the longest marriage you had now?
6 years.
Okay, but
the
how
first
long?
one was like I was 18. I was young, dumb, and stupid.
Okay.
Like that was the first one, right? The second one was 6 years. I was married to my kid's dad, and then the third one, I did not want to get married a third time. I was like, no, and he's like, we're soulmates. I love you, and I was like,
apparently not.
that lasted. We got married in November. It was already over by like October, so we didn't even hit a full year. It was like right before it was gonna hit a full year. It was done.
Damn, is that bad?
It just made two people worse. How about that?
Okay.
Like I'm not gonna point my fingers, right? I mean, like it does take two in a relationship, but he knows he made mistakes, and I'm the type of person like I'll give you chances. I'll give you 5, 3, 4, 5 chances, but then once I know, right? With women, I feel like once they check out, they check out. They're done. They're like, fuck this shit. I ain't got time for this shit.
By mistakes, do you mean he cheated?
Yeah, it was infidelity.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know-
infidelity quite a few times. I caught him on Easter, my birthday. My birthday was on Easter this year. Yes. And I just had this feeling, and I had an astrology reading. Shout out to Raina. She told me that like I have this thing called the knowing, which is like the third eye. And she's like, you ever get things where you just know? And so it was one of those moments where I just knew he was cheating. And I just took my dog home from the emergency room because he got bit by my other dog, mind you. See?
I know, there's a lot of the blender, the large truck outside.
That's my life right now. The truck backing up. And then I just knew, and then my dog was fucked up. I had to take him to the doctors because I had to get stitches. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to drive to his house. Drove to his house. He opened the doors, pants unbuckled, girls wearing his clothes. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? That was my 2022.
My God.
I was resurrected on my birthday.
And you forgave him multiple times.
Yeah,
though,
I forgave him for that too.
I don't know how people do that. I don't know if I could ever forgive.
I don't know how I did it either.
My,
but
my wife if she cheated on me.
Numerous amount of times.
Yeah.
And he knows. You know what I mean? He's like, I know I fucked up.
So how do you rebuild the trust after?
There is none. That's why I got a divorce.
I know, but you forgave him multiple times.
I did. I forgave him multiple times because with my second marriage, it was also infidelity. But I didn't give it. Like I didn't even catch him red-handed. Like my third ex-husband tried to shaggy me. He's like, it wasn't me. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what's cool? Am I in the Twilight Zone? With my second ex-husband, what had happened with that was I saw, it was so stupid. It was like a birthday card that I saw in his backpack. And it was like, happy birthday. Can't wait to spend more birthdays with you. But when someone gets a card like that, it's like, their person is in love, right? Love so-and-so, but they didn't write who it's to and who it's from. From that card on, I started digging. I started CSIing the freaking, the writing on the card. And then I checked the phone bills because I paid the phone bills at the time. And I was looking at phone numbers that he was calling.
Well, you had a real winner on your hands.
Yeah. And I was like, why is he calling this person 30 fucking times? And then I started dialing the phone number on my phone, and that person was in my phone. So I knew the person. So as soon as I found that out, I was like, boy, bye. And mind you, he left me. He left me because of comedy. He's like, I can't do this anymore.
Oh my God.
I can't be with you. You're not the same woman.
Is that how he justified the cheating? Oh, you're never around.
I
You're
didn't
doing
know the
comedy.
cheating until after, right? Like he left and then like left me at my parents' house with my kids. And I was like, what the fuck? I tried to quit. I didn't try to quit. I took a break from comedy. I was like, you know what? Let me take a 1 month break just to get my life together. And then I was getting depressed. And then I found out he was cheating. Boom. I was like, oh, wow. We're full blown. We're light speed now in comedy. And then from then on, the comedy has been my therapy because most of my jokes are like,
That's good, but you're great at it. You're fucking hilarious.
thank you. Cheers.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
storytelling, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I have a story to tell. I always tell Leslie that. I'm like, I have such a story to tell. I want to tell everybody. I know it sounds fucked up, but
Because like because the first time I saw you was that show we did together, the 5 to 6
Fariba.
funny Filipinos. But I've always seen your name, on bacon and all that on flyers. So It was great to finally see you. But yeah, you were hilarious. It was great.
Thank you.
It's always
Thank you.
nice when people are actually good. It's like,
I've never been on a show with so many Filipinos
Yeah,
or a Filipino
me
show
neither.
at that. So I was very proud, and I was like, yeah.
yeah, I was surprisingly proud because usually I try to avoid like anything like, hey, here's an all Asian anything. It's like I don't want to get in just because I'm Asian or
I do.
Well, I say that, but then when Bernie put out the notice, it was like, oh, please have me. It's like.
Speaking of Bernie, I have to shout out to Bernie. When he booked me for this show, he's messaged me and was like, hey, I'm doing this show. And, and you were like the third person that I contacted. Kind of like all these other people backed out. And I was the third person that he picked, Bernie. And I was lightweight, like butthurt about it. But I was like, thanks, Bernie. I'm going to bring it.
I get it. Well, you did bring it.
Oh, yeah, I know. I was like, it's going to be brought.
Yeah,
Bernie.
it was brought for sure. But yeah, that's definitely a funny thing to say to a comic. Hey, I didn't really want you, but two other people dropped out. So what do you say? You want to go to the prom with me?
I'm all fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're not going to be third chase after because we had a great show.
It was such a good show.
Yeah, and honestly, I have to be like, I thought it was going to be a shit show, and I looked at the setup.
Well, and I've never worked with Bernie before. I'm not saying Bernie, but like I've never worked with anyone that I've never worked with before, right? Like usually it's people like word of mouth. So I was like, I've never heard of his shows. And then when we went, I was like, oh shit, there's actually people there.
That's the thing is, I don't think any comic on there had actually met Bernie before. I think for all of us, that was our first interactions with Bernie. And then I remember walking into it, and then I looked at the room. It's like, oh, this is a ballroom, and it looks like a sales conference.
You're already judging.
Yeah, and then they had that big speaker right in the middle, in front of the stage. I was like, oh, this is gonna be like a shit show. And I was looking at like the average age of the people. Like,
he's like, I can't even gear the audience.
But it turned out to be a great show. It's
because
like
everyone, Filipinos.
Honestly, probably. Yeah. Because Filipinos tend to have fun.
Yeah, imagine it was like an Aryan one. We're like, we're at the wrong show.
Yeah. No, but I remember the bit that really stood out to me is your shower bit because the way you did the sound effects with it, it was fucking hilarious.
I'm trying to get that Police Academy guy voice.
Michael Winslow.
Yeah. He does it like I want to work on that bit a little bit more and do more sound effects.
I think it's fantastic, especially with your voice. It was great. Like I said, it was very nice to see all of us do so well that night.
Yeah, it was really
and
good.
I felt the Filipino pride swell up on me because I'd never been on a show where there's nothing but Filipinos.
My first time too.
Yeah.
And I thought was really funny though. Shout out to my old boss.
You had a bunch of ex-coworkers over there. Right?
Yeah, and my old boss, she's like, oh, it's like open mic, right? And she's like, so I Googled jokes, and in my head I was like, why would you do that? You think that's what we do? And then she starts telling the jokes. And then one of the jokes was, what do you call a two pair of Filipino pilots? And I was like, no. Like all the way from where I was standing, I was like, don't do it. And then two pliers. Pair pliers, and I was like, oh shit.
Hey, shout out to Natasha Abadia who ended her segment two jokes like that, and I called you out on it because you deserved it. But it was very fun.
It was fun. I really enjoyed it. I would love to do it again. I hope they invite us back. Whether they're like, no, we want new Filipino comics. Like it's just us.
Well, you know what? I don't know if you saw it in the Facebook comments, and Bernie made a post about that. Someone was asking him to do it in Seattle. And I told Bernie, hey, let's make this a fucking touring show then. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think the lineup was like perfect too, honestly. It's a good mix. I feel like we all balance each other out. So then that's good on Bernie then for choosing the comics he did.
Yeah, he did a good job producing that.
Yeah, that's a big thing, right? Making sure, like, do you produce shows too? Or you just...
I used to. Me and Leslie are supposed to try to get back into producing. Oh, yeah. Did you get any green light on that? No, she's still coming back from vacation.
Okay.
I have to bug her. I feel like such a nag. I'm like the mom. I'm like, Leslie, did you talk to them yet? And she's like, oh yeah.
Because that is a big thing, right? It's like the comics you book. You want to make sure not only do they balance each other out, but they're conducive to that room.
There's even an escalation too,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Escalation, you can see the laughs, or you can have those people set the bar, and then it's like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed too, this is what I tell a lot of starting comedians, like, if you have the opportunity to produce and host and make a room, like do it as soon as you want, as soon as you can, because I feel like you get the hosting stuff honed in all in that first year. So like the first 2 years I was doing comedy, I was already producing. I was producing an open mic, a showcase, and then and a lot of times I wasn't even getting on shows. And the times I would get on shows, it's like, oh, it's a bringer show. Yeah, can you bring 20 people to
20
freaking
people,
some
Jesus.
shithole town? I'm like, dude, I don't even know that shithole town. I was like, what city is this? And I still did them, you know what I mean? But eventually I learned I wasn't getting booked because I couldn't bring the people. So then I started producing. And then that's where I started to see who like my true following was, like my friends and my family, right? And then also the comics that were down for me that would be like, hey, can I get a set? I'm like, fuck yeah. And a lot of people ask, how do you get booked? I'm like, well, I started producing.
So that
And
really
I hear it
helped
all
you
the
out a
time.
lot.
Yeah, I hear it all the time. Like, I wish they don't book me for this show, or I wish that person would book, this person. And I'm just kind of like, well, why don't people just get into producing? Just try it. It's not easy, because I even see people give shit to the person booking the show. Like, he never books me. And I'm like, book your own show, book your own show. And I tell people that you got to start producing. You got to start somewhere if you want to get more time. And then I guarantee once you start producing those good shows, people will start coming to you and be like, hey, can I get on your show? I see it all the time. All the time. Right, Leslie? Right. See? It's my hype woman over here.
Yeah, I know, right? One thing that I learned within the past few months is like you actually have to reach out to bookers, to get on shows. You can't just expect them to descend from the heavens and like, well, yeah. No, you gotta be proactive about it and reach out to them.
If there's a show out there that you want to get on, you have to hit
let
them
them know. There's a lot of comics out there. They're not gonna, it's impossible for them to have
especially
like
if it's
everyone
weekly
in mind.
and a
Yeah,
monthly,
yeah.
like they're already pre-booked the whole year.
Yeah.
Like they're already, and if it's a 5-person lineup, that's it. Those 5
Yeah.
people, it's like five. And they'll even say, I'm sorry, I'm trying to circulate the comics. And I'm like, yeah. See you next year.
Yeah, but
Like,
there's no harm in reminding them that you
No.
exist,
Yeah.
right? At least you stay on top, and it's made a huge difference for me.
Yeah.
In terms of bookings, and I
You got to
talk
be
to-
hungry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to ask for
Well,
it.
because a lot of people, I guess you can talk about this then, since you used to produce shows, you're gonna produce a show again. Because a lot of comics don't like to ask because they feel like, I don't know, it's not a good look. Oh, I'm a comic who's asking to be booked on. I'm looking. But I feel like it's just kind of par for the course, though, isn't it? That's what you got to do until you get to a point where you're a bigger name and everyone's just asking you to be on their shows. But until then, you got to go after it.
You gotta go after it. I mean, it's just like life, right? Being a child, like there were times you have to ask for a ride. There's gonna be times that you're gonna have to ask someone to hand you something, or you're gonna need help. Just like the comedy scene.
Yeah.
And if you have too much pride to like ask for it, good luck waiting. Like you had better be fucking fired. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh man, you're getting your name out there. I mean, and I feel like that's some of like the TikTok people and some of the Instagram people where they're just funny on those things. I feel like they have a completely different platform and they're like, yeah, I can do stand up. And then I see them bomb and I'm like, oh man, that person cannot.
Yeah, no, it's definitely.
But then they're getting
beast.
booked, right? They're getting booked because of their name. And it's just like,
are they putting butts in seats?
it's because they're putting butts in seats. But are they funny real life?
Yeah. Well, that's why
it's hit or miss.
Like for me, I try. This is what I'm trying to do, and I try to encourage anyone to do it. As I'm like moving up in comedy, I'm trying to build my audience right now as it is. So so you can't start putting butts in seats as you get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, when you're starting the other way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're doing comedy, and then you're doing this social media.
Yeah.
Videos.
So what kind of things do you do to try to like increase your followership so you can put butts in seats?
Butts in seats is just promoting, like sharing. That's always helping. Just talking to people. A lot of times, if I'm going like a boba place, right, or if like I go to the liquor store near my house, I'm always like, "You guys got to come to a show." And they're like, "Bitch, we run a liquor store. Like,
you keep it local
all the time." But now I'm thinking of coming back to them and be like, "How about I bring the comedy to you guys? Let me do a quick 20-minute set. I have 5 different comics that you can watch for 5 minutes. You can't leave your liquor store. We'll come to you. I have a PA." Like those are the types of ideas that like come into my head. I would love to put that on, Instagram, TikTok. That shit would go viral. They're like, comedy in a liquor store. Who would have thought about that? And I'm only doing it for these people who own the liquor store who can't come to comedy shows. Like giving back to the community.
So you have a proactive attitude, sounds
Oh,
like.
all
Yeah,
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
the time. Even I'm always encouraging the new comics too, and a lot of the seasoned comics hate that I do that. Why are you doing that?
Well, why do they hate it?
No, well, some of them
Because
is like
they're gonna get contacted by all these open micers. Hey,
to me, I feel like it's more. To me, I feel like it's more competition, right? They're like, oh, great, now we got another. And especially if they're new and they're really funny, it's like they're like, oh, great, and they'll be like, that person sucks. I'm like, no, they don't. They're really funny. You know. So I think I feel like it's more like that, kind of like that, or they're just being funny. It's like whatever. No, you guys, we'll see you next year. You know, quit while you're ahead, type of thing. But everyone has a different feeling. I've always been encouraging and uplifting because that's who I don't know. I feel like because I'm Filipino, I'm always like, yeah, you can do it.
No, I feel like it's one of those things where, because I listen to a lot of stand-up comedy podcasts too, and it's just like the ones who are successful are definitely very encouraging and want to support people.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking like the people like at Joe Rogan's level, Ari Shafir's level, like your dad, they're all
Tony.
very supportive of each other, right? And they, like you got to give it to Joe Rogan. He really is a egalitarian, where like what he's trying to do in Austin, like trying to provide like a really great venue for open micers, and he really does
That's
treat
the
people.
Kill Tony, right?
Yeah, no, Kill Tony. Well, that's Tony Hinchcliffe. That's a different thing.
guy. Oh,
yeah,
my
that's a
bad.
different
See, I don't
guy.
listen to comedy stuff.
No, but his feeling really is like, hey, even if you're an open micer, you're a comic. No, we're all comics, and he really
good.
pans, and that's good, and that's honestly that's the way it should be.
Right.
All this like bitterness and toxicity. That's a hard word to say. Toxicity. Am I saying that right?
Toxicity, yeah, you're saying it right. Toxicity.
It sounds like it's wrong though, doesn't it? When you say it
it's
out
right.
loud?
Toxicity.
Yeah, but just say toxicity. Anyway, there goes my squirrel brain. But no, but I feel like there's a good amount of it, but there doesn't have to be. There doesn't have to be these beefs and these like bitterness, and they're just really.
I think that's what's the problem with the world sometimes. Like all the negativity, it gives bad juju, bad energy. Like why? Like you could die tomorrow, and then you're just like, pretty much bullying a comedian.
Yeah.
like
Like
what?
I was part of this group thread between some comics. I think there's like 10 of us. We're all around. Like I'm a year in now. Some of them are probably 2 years in. And they were talking about this one comic. I'm happy to tell you afterwards, but just really hating, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just like, yeah, geez, guys, there's so much positivity in this thread. I'm loving it. And
It's
then
just like drama.
And then they just responded, gay. So gay. That's like, but it's because what? It's like, but they're younger than I am, right?
Yeah.
Because I just know like. It's not gonna
I'm
get
sorry
you.
to laugh.
No, it is. It's funny,
okay.
but it's like, my thing is like all that like that negative. It's not gonna get you anywhere. And you're only gonna make yourself more miserable. It's not gonna help you as a comic. It's not gonna help you get booked. Like, don't waste your energy. I understand. Feel it initially.
Yeah.
Because we'll all feel that, like, that saltiness, right? We don't get booked.
Yeah.
Or like, why the fuck are these people getting booked? I'm funnier
I
than
wanna be
them.
on that show.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you're not wrong to feel it initially, but don't let it fucking eat you up and, like, dwell on it.
I mean, my thing is that, like, why are you doing
But
comedy?
put the microphone a little bit closer to your...
Why are you doing comedy? You know what I mean? Like, that's...
Yeah,
like,
so just swivels. You don't
I know.
if you want
I
to
keep forgetting that I can
yeah,
bring it
yeah,
to me.
yeah. If you want to sit back, that's fine. Yeah.
I was saying, like, that's the thing. We do comedy to make people laugh, and then comics get mad if audience members don't laugh. But in the end, like, what is your focus? And that's what I think we all got to remember. We're here to make people laugh.
Yeah.
Whether it's that one person that laughed at your joke and the other 30 people that didn't think it was funny. Hey, you did your job. Like, you thought it was funny. You delivered. Let's keep that going instead of bullying another comedian. Like, I'm just so tired of seeing the bullying. And I'm not part of the clicky. I'll go to certain open mics, but I get so tired of, like, the clickiness and then like the shit talking, because like people used to shit talk about me all the time. Like,
but what
you
they
should
say
do this.
about you?
You should do well. They would say it to my face pretty much. They would be like, you should do this and you should do that. You should be doing more mics. You should be getting booked more and blah blah blah. I'm like, trust me, I would love to do that if I could. But there's these thing called kids, the ones that are in the car. You know what I mean? Like, I can't just like
the windows open, people.
Yeah, and their windows are open. The dogs are in there too. I was like, oh shit, my dog's in there too. The AC's on. But I was saying, like, me personally, I don't give a fuck what other people think, and that's like my common attitude. Like, I mean, deep down inside I do, but I just like don't let it bother me because life is too short. Like, why get pissed off about it? You know what I
We're
mean?
lowering the mic just a little bit so it doesn't
Can you
cover your
hear
face.
this?
I can hear you. No, I'm trying to
Oh.
just lower it so it doesn't cover your face.
Oh, just so it doesn't cover my face.
That way
He
I'm
wants to
not
see
just
my
talking to
beautiful
a microphone right there in the middle of your face.
Sorry.
No, but
I'm trying to hide Mike's face.
Yeah, no, but I get that you don't give a fuck attitude because I feel like it comes off on stage for you because that's one thing
Does
I do
it?
have
Okay,
to say.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I don't.
It's like I was like when I was watching, it's like, oh yeah, nothing's gonna throw this comic off. Like she. Like,
I'm tired of people telling me what to do.
Yeah.
Like I had to find a balance in my particular comedy journey,
Mm-hmm.
right? Balancing parenthood, working, divorce, and being funny, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, and I just was so tired of hearing people criticize me like that. And then not even like being polite about it, like straight up to my face, like, hey, I mean, I've seen people like pretty much virtually slap people online. And like even myself, I'm like, well, that's a slap in the face. Like who says that? But I don't. Fuck it. Who cares? I'm not here. I'm not doing comedy for them.
how many kids do you have?
2.
Two. How old are they?
12 and 14.
Okay, at least it's nice that they're a little bit older,
Oh yeah,
right?
they make stuff for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. They can basically take care of themselves.
Yeah, that's fully functioning.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait for that day to happen, and then now I'm kind of sad because now it's there. But now I'm like, okay, when are you guys gonna start driving? So you guys can just be like, hey, drop me off at the tea place. You guys go to the mall, and then like come back and pick me up. But they're too scared to drive, so they're probably not gonna be driving.
So how
for a
come they're
while.
not at home by themselves then?
Oh, they wanted to go. We have like a scavenger hunt thing after this, and they wanted to get boba and
What's
stuff
that
like
about?
What, the scavenger?
Yeah.
Oh, so I always try to do something during the summer with my kids, like escape rooms and stuff like that.
Oh.
So there's this Alice in Wonderland escape room scavenger hunt in San Francisco. You download an app and then it tells you like, okay, you got to find these like locations or these spots in the city, and it's mostly walking, and then you take pictures and then you do all this like.
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
It is. I mean, the first one we did was in downtown San Jose. It's from 9 to 5. You can finish it at any time. And we did like 10 questions, and there's 20. We're like, I'm tired. Are you guys hungry? They're like, yeah, let's stop. So we didn't even finish it, but it's just the act of being together and doing fun stuff. Now we have the dogs with us. So
Yeah, you're a fun parent.
I try. I'm a terrible one during the other times.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, you learn your lessons, right? No one starts out perfectly. It sounds like you didn't have much help from the husband's side. So.
No, we do, but we have 2 separate households, right? There's 2 separate households. We live 2 separate lives, and so they do fun stuff that they do with their dad, and then I'll get all sad. I'll be like, I want to do that stuff with you guys. It's like, well, why don't you go fucking do it?
Do you have full custody or?
No, we're 50-50.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's just from my second marriage that we had the 2 kids.
Okay, so it sounds like it was fairly amicable.
Yeah,
then.
no, he's a good dad. He's a good dad. I mean, he was a terrible husband to me, but he's remarried, has another baby. They have a half brother. We co-parent. It's challenging.
What does that mean, co-parent exactly?
Co-parent means like there's 2 different households, right? Like we're
Okay.
trying to like I don't give a fuck what they do to their hair. Like cut their hair. I don't care if they wear makeup. Like I was a teenager once, like no big deal to me. But my daughter cut her hair recently and she got in trouble with her dad, and he's like, I can't believe your mom let you do this. I was like, well, first off, I didn't know. And second, I didn't give a fuck if she cut her hair. She could shave her head bald for all I care. I don't, that's her way of expressing herself.
Yeah,
You know
what
I mean?
difference should it make to the parent with the hairstyle?
Yeah, no, like I don't care about hair. Like it's like no big deal to me. But then it was like, how dare you? And they're in the Hispanic side, so they're Mexican and Filipino. And it's like the Mexican side, oh, heaven forbid you cut your hair, right?
So they're really good looking, I'm assuming then. It's a good mix.
My daughters are beautiful. One
Yeah.
looks just like me, which is
That's
scary.
2 daughters.
Yeah.
2 teenage
I have 2
daughters.
teenage girls. Yeah.
Wow.
I carry knives on me all the time.
Yeah.
I do not carry guns, but I did get my gun license. So
Yeah, man. 2 teenage girls. That's going to
Yeah.
be rough.
yeah. I mean, the 12-year-old is turning 13 this year, and since they're half Mexican, I'm like, oh, we got a norteña and a serena. It's gonna be a terrible year for gang wars, ganglands.
Wow. I mean, 50-50. Well, because they say when women live together, their cycles end up
Yeah, we're
syncing,
we're in
right?
sync. We're in sync, and
Oh,
it's terrible.
wow, yeah.
We hate each other. Yeah. and then before, one of them didn't have their period yet, and so when one got her period, then I knew I was gonna get mine. I was like, fuck. And then pretty soon, the one who didn't have their period would be like, you're next, mom. They got hers. You're next. I'm like, don't fucking do that shit. Don't fucking point at me and tell me I'm gonna get my period.
Do you talk to them about sex at all?
Oh yeah, no, I'm open. Like they're open with me. I mean, I'm not necessarily sex, like, but like if they'll say, "What is that?" I'm like, "Oh, that's a penis," But I drop f-bombs. I like have a potty mouth. Like they're so open to me. They tell me stuff. Like one of them has a boyfriend. My oldest, she has a boyfriend, and she's like, tells me stuff like, oh yeah, he said he was gonna kiss me, and I was just like, what? Did you kiss him? And I'll ask her every time she comes home from school, I'm like, did he kiss you yet? She's like, no, mom, he's not kissing me. I'm
There you go. This guy's gonna get the camera right
yeah,
here.
yeah,
But he actually owns his whole plaza. We met him. He's a nice guy.
Oh,
Right?
nice.
Yeah,
Hello.
they're just a little clueless. Yeah. But so you haven't had like an official sex talk with your kids then? Like, hey, this is not the birds and the bees.
Oh yeah. No, I've had that.
How
I've had that.
soon did you have that with your kids?
I would say maybe around like 10 or
10 years old,
10
that
or
early, huh?
11. Yeah, I was because the school was already teaching it to them.
At that age?
Yeah,
Interesting.
They're teaching them like maybe I want to say 9, 10, or 10 or 11. around that
Wow.
age.
Because I didn't
it's
do
like
sex ed until I was 12.
So it's like I couldn't like not talk about it.
Yeah.
They're like, Mom, they told us what a penis is, and I'm like, what
they
did you
didn't know
think?
what a penis was before
Well, I mean,
that?
they knew what it was, but then they're like seeing pictures, right? Like visuals, like, okay, what the hell? And then they're talking about like wet dreams and shit. And I was like, ew. Even I was going, ew.
Let me interrupt a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Who is really running this shop?
The shop?
Yeah, this shop. Yeah.
Who
Runs this
I believe Vince. I'm not really the best person to ask. Why?
you are the manager?
No, I'm not.
You're not.
I'm not connected with this shop at all.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
He just runs the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he is right.
Yeah.
That's why he talks so much, huh?
Yeah. That's what a podcast is. Yeah. what is going on here? This is crazy.
Live here with
No.
with Mike.
But what were you talking about? This is if you don't you know listening. This guy
I'm a
is
stoner, so I totally forgot what we were talking about.
no. I was talking about your
My kids, being
your
open,
kids
talking
not
to my
having
kids. Yeah.
it's doing it at such an early age.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're already doing it at school.
I'm running for president now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did you hear that?
What's going?
He wants
What's
to declare that
going
he's
on?
running for president.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you want to run for a government office, you could say it.
Yeah, we can announce it here.
Yeah, there you go.
Here at Sana TV.
Yeah. No, but so like, how did you approach that conversation then? Did they approach you or you?
Yeah, they were like, hey, we're going to be taking a family education. And I was like, what's family education? And they're like, it's like we're learning about, female and male body parts. I'm like, oh. And so once they start talking about it, I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm just like open with them and like tell them about like self-care. Like they've gone to my shows, they've heard my jokes. So there's no like, they've gone to open mics. Like they've told jokes at open mics.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I have videos of them telling jokes at open mics. So I don't know. I'm glad I have that type of relationship because I want them to be completely open and transparent. But sometimes it's just too much information. I'm like, okay, you're telling me too much shit right now. I'm like, you don't have to tell me that. But I'm glad they do. And I think it's good for parents, children to be able to be open like that. Even if they don't feel comfortable with telling me, I tell them like, if you don't feel comfortable telling me, tell your uncle, tell Lola, tell Lolo. You know what I mean? Like, because there's stuff that happens in a child's life that you can't ever take back. You can't undo. Like once it's been done, it's done, right? So my goal is to kind of like encourage my kids to speak up. Have fun, stay away from boys.
Well, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, she already has a
got
boyfriend.
Yeah.
No. And I always ask them too. I'm like, do you like girls? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
So you broached that subject already.
my youngest approached it to me a couple years ago, and she's like, I'm bi, and I'm like, does your boyfriend know?
You know what? Well, I realized just what happened with that old gentleman, Leslie. I don't think he got his drink, did he?
No, he is going to run for president.
Yeah. So he
owns the whole-
he owns the whole plaza.
Of course,
And
he does.
apparently he likes to show up at businesses every now and then, and as long as you hook him up with something, he hasn't received his drink yet. I think that's what's going.
Oh, that's why
he's
he's asking. He's like, "Are you the owner?"
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here, but it's just completely walking into the shot. He's
That
basically
is so
the
funny.
kind of guy you would eviscerate at a show, right? If he's like,
Oh yeah. He's like heckling.
yeah, that. Yeah, it's like I kind of just had to hold myself back because I don't want to get Vince, who's running it, in trouble.
Right.
But if it was just me, I would just like lay them out or not. I wouldn't get like physically violent, but
punching him.
I would lay them out. It's not a good way to put it.
Dang, Mike.
I know. It's like, how dare you? no, this is a
Ask for a
podcast.
free drink.
No, but I wouldn't have been so like tolerant and forgiving. Hey, like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You're literally standing in the shot. You're really that's
And I like how the customer was defending.
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
He was like, they're doing a show right now.
Yeah, it's like,
And then Leslie's like, they're doing a podcast.
yeah, I know. So thank God Leslie's hanging around since you guys are comedy sisters.
Yeah.
You guys are like this.
Oh, yeah.
How long
That's-
have you guys known each other?
At least 10 years, at least since I've been doing it.
Wow,
10
that
years.
long.
Yeah.
Wow.
I known her. When did you start? Because you started before me.
Mhm.
So, okay. Oh, so 2007, 2008. So a couple years before I started, because I was watching her do stand up on American Me with Squeaks Morales, which I just recently did a show with. I saw her. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Squeaks Morales is actually related to me in some weird way because of like my dad's brother's
Yeah, we're all
wives,
cousins somehow.
right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
I
but-
was watching her, and when she gave me tickets, that's when I saw Leslie for the first time, and I just fell in love with them. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do that one day. It obviously took me a little bit of time.
And you guys ended up becoming
And
like
then
such
now
close friends.
now we're like
Yeah.
comedy sisters. Like I love
Wow,
Leslie.
that's
Yeah.
insane.
We just done tour. We're going on tour.
Oh yeah, tell me.
Planning going on tour.
Well, 10 years ago, I mean, Leslie's an attractive woman now. I imagine 10 years ago, she's smoking hot.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I was like, well, you should ask Leslie that.
No, she alluded
She's
to
amazing,
it earlier.
and Leslie's has always been
Listen to her
amazing.
podcast, trust me. You know,
Yeah,
she went for it. You know, there was
I bet
no
she did.
holding back. She
I
went
bet
for
she did.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were
Yeah,
talking
no,
about
that's what I was counting on for Leslie's episode. I know. I just gotta ask like the one question and just let her go
Yeah.
off. Yes.
She's like a mine.
Yeah, but tell me
Mine.
about this tour. Is it just the two of you? Who else is on
So
it?
far, just the two of us. I mean, if there's any comics that like are down to also, because we're paying our way. This isn't like we're getting a tour bus, touring with this famous comedian. No, this is just us coordinating schedule and paving our way, getting our names out there.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I think that's what you need to do.
Yeah,
I
and we're a
think-
duo. So I mean, if people are like, "Oh, we want to see a video," we got videos ready. We're like, we perform together. We can vouch for each other. If they don't think our shit's funny, well, then you're missing out.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Exactly.
We're gonna Pretty Woman them. Like, big mistake.
So, like, where are you guys going?
So LA, North Carolina. We want to go to Georgia, Atlanta. I think we want to go to Atlanta, Chicago, and New York. Those are the ones that we want to go to so far.
That's fantastic.
Oh, and Las Vegas, of course.
When are you guys doing this?
Throughout the year so far. So our first one I think is going to be in September, and that one's going to LA. Is it the 29th? September 9th, which is LA. Yeah. And then after that, we are planning on going to North Carolina at the end of the month in September.
Oh, so it's not one continuous thing.
No, it's
you
not
guys
one can
are-
do.
Okay.
We're breaking it up because Leslie's that amazing. She was willing to work with my schedule because I have kids, right? And we just literally sat down one day and we're like, "All right, bitch, we're gonna lock up these dates," and we locked them up and we're like, "Okay, now we're just committed and we're gonna just do it." I mean, we don't have anything to lose. I mean, other than not working.
Okay, so for those who are listening,
for?
the old man came
I
back
wish we had a.
and he's asking who's running the shop
Who do you
right
work
now.
for?
I don't know what's going. I don't know what's going on here. This old man seems disgruntled for some reason. Who knows what's going on? Yeah, I know. But
Dun,
okay,
dun,
so
dun.
you guys have a bunch of dates spread out through the country, and you're spreading it throughout the year. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's the. I mean,
We've already
that's-
had to cancel one. Remember, we had to reread.
Well, what
switch
happened?
Dates.
Why did you have to cancel the one?
Because we were looking at how much tickets cost
Yeah.
to fly. We're like, no, we're gonna pick a different day. Yeah, it was like $3,000. It was
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I've never flown first class in my life, and I'm like, okay, I'll see you in coach, Leslie.
Yeah, you'll save
But
a lot
even
of
then,
money. Just
yeah,
flying.
yeah, but even then, it was still like $2,000, like $1,000
For
like,
coach?
Yeah, I'm like, no,
To where?
like maybe 1,700 euros is to Chicago. It was Chicago.
Jesus Christ, international flights go for cheaper than that.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
and some of
that's
them had stops
crazy.
too. So it's like, why am I gonna want to?
It's probably the time of the year then. It's more than I
yeah,
can't
'cause
believe.
it's summer.
Okay,
right?
there you
so,
go.
I mean, I wasn't like terribly disappointed.
Uh-huh.
I was just kind of like, okay, we'll reschedule.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic because I feel like especially Bay Area comics, we get stuck in this bubble where we think comedy only exists within the Bay Area, but it's like there's lots of game to be had outside of the
Oh
Bay
yeah,
Area.
yeah.
Yeah, and the more you can get your face and your name out of these different markets, the better, right?
I mean, take advantage of our resources because we know a lot of comedians that travel this way, right, to come to
So
the
is that
Bay.
what you guys have done?
Yeah,
The
and then
connections you've
those
made?
people end up moving, right? Some of them moved to New York, some of
Uh-huh.
them moved to Atlanta, some of them moved to wherever, and so luckily Hawaii, right? So I actually got Leslie a gig out in Hawaii
Oh,
because I went to go
wow.
visit once just to go as be a tourist, and then I went and hit up the open mics, built relationships there. She tells me, "Hey, I'm going to Hawaii." I'm like, dude, hit up this person. I connected it on Facebook, bing, bang, boom. Now she's headlining one of the shows.
Wow.
So it's like, it's all about like putting in your work, knowing, keeping your network and your resources. And New York is one of the ones I want to perform at. And I know some comics out there.
Yeah, New York's a big one for a lot of. Oh, look at those two beautiful dogs.
Those are mine.
Is that your dog?
Yeah, I don't know if they're allowed to come in here. Or they, guys, like they're
I'm not
pets.
sure.
Yeah,
I'm not
they're
sure
probably-
exactly. Probably safer
There's
just
another
to keep
kid.
them
No,
outside.
yeah, there's another kid that's going to come in and probably
kids are
order
allowed
the-
to come in here. I'm not
Yeah.
sure about the dogs.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. Wow. So
One of you guys can come in and then order.
So I guess they got tired of staying in the van with the
Yeah.
cracked windows. And they wanted some outside time.
They're like, we want air.
Okay, so the one holding the dogs is the 12-year-old, I'm guessing?
No, the one holding the dog is the 14-year-old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
Oh, but
she
they're
looks like her
basically
dad.
the same height.
Yeah, they're the same height. They're both taller than me.
Oh, okay. Are they taller
Yeah,
than
they're
you
both
are?
taller
How
than me.
tall are
It's,
you?
it's quite depressing. I'm 5'2".
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're like typical like Asian female height then.
Typical Asian.
But the thing is, like, because of your big dick energy, you come off as taller.
Yeah. Well, and I don't come off as a woman too, because I used to do radio and people would call in because they didn't like what I was playing or talking about,
Uh-huh.
and they're like, "I demand to speak to the man that was on the radio." I'm like, "This is the man that was on the radio."
What station did you used to
It was
radio?
105. I forget 105.3, 102.1. I forget KKUP 99.5.
What kind of music? Alternative rock?
No, it was like
rock?
folklore station. Like they have different kinds of stations and stuff like that.
Oh,
Like different
wow.
types of genres throughout the day.
What
that
was
they could
this?
play. This is maybe like
It's okay. You can get in the
5.
shot. It
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
matter.
She's
Trust
shy.
me, it doesn't matter at this
Yeah.
point. It does. It does. Yeah, you can order
you can
right
order
there.
right
It does
there.
not matter at this point. We're already coming up on 1 hour.
Oh, that's probably why I'm starting to sweat.
Believe
I
it
was
or not,
like,
I can't help but notice
think it's-
you've got a bunch of pins on your vest, and you even have a Pete Munoz pin.
Yeah, shout out to Pete.
yes.
Name drop. Where's the Pete one?
There it
Over
is.
here, Yeah.
You
I
got
actually have a couple of
flair.
his.
Is what they would call
Yeah.
it as flair,
Yeah.
right?
You can thank one of my ex-boyfriends for that.
See,
Like,
we
they
see we
had a
got
vest. Yeah.
Bob Ross. Did your ex-boyfriend work at Chili's or something?
No. He just had a vest with buttons on it. And I was
Okay.
like, I like that. I'm gonna borrow that idea.
There's Stranger Things.
Yep.
So these are all things you're a
And
fan
there's
of.
Banksy. Yeah, Banksy.
Oh, Banksy, yeah.
Banksy. And of course, I love horror movies. So I was saying, like, you were like, I watch and I listen to a lot of like comedy.
Uh-huh.
I'm probably the worst comedian because like I do not watch comedy. I try to avoid watching it. Like people will be like, hey, I have tickets. And I'm like, I don't really want to watch it. I mean, unless it's like an actual person I actually know, I'm like, I'll
Uh-huh.
come support. But I don't watch Joe Coy, even though he's one of my favorites. Kevin Hart is probably one of the ones I'll probably want to watch
Yeah.
live. But I watch a lot of horror. Hence the horror buttons. Elm Street, Freddy Krueger's my favorite. Like I'm obsessed with horror. Like my kids think I'm demented because I fall asleep watching horror stuff. They're like, "What the hell are you watching?" And I'm like, "I don't know, whatever. I fell asleep." So I'm working on that, and those are one of the jokes that I'm working on,
Okay.
like where I will not let go. I'm like, I want to be like dark and scary, and those jokes are just end up making it look like I'm demented.
So when you watch a horror movie, like, can you really keep your eyes on the screen, or do you look down in the corner? Do you look away
You
at
know,
all?
I can watch the screen.
So
Yeah.
you like that scary
I
feeling?
love the adrenaline, the scary. The ones I can't watch is like the ghost paranormal ones. Those ones scare the shit out of me because I'm like, you can't hide from ghosts. You can hide from slashers. You can't hide from ghosts walking through walls.
do,
and
do,
shit.
do you like watching true crime stuff?
Yes, I do.
Of course you do. You're
I'm
a woman,
obsessed.
right?
Yeah,
The women,
true crime,
women
48
love
hours.
that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
have a whole
Women
bit
love
about it. Well,
that.
why do women love it?
I think I don't know. I think they like seeing the people either not getting away, right? Like they get caught, maybe the act of getting caught, or like maybe the act of not getting caught. I don't know. Me personally, why I like watching it is I like the the solving part of it. Like, oh, they found the guy, and when they don't find it, I'm so disappointed. I'm like, I can't watch this series. I was like, they're not solving any of the crimes. Like unsolved mysteries, I refuse to watch the new ones. I'm like, no.
Well,
they're
48
unsolved.
hours is pretty much that. They normally get away.
No, some of them they catch him. They have a suspect.
Some,
you know?
have a suspect.
Yeah,
but
it's that,
yeah. No, because my wife's big on all this. When you said 48 hours, it's, oh yeah, you're legit. You really do.
We like watching
you
people
like the
get-
real stuff. Yeah. Crime and investigation and all that.
Yep, the real.
Okay, well, let's wrap it up. We're already at an hour. PX, where can
Sorry.
people? No, that's the whole point. That's the whole, no, I'm wrapping it up because I don't know what's going on with this old Chinese man too. You know, it's like,
It's
that's
like, no, he's talking to my
probably,
kids.
yeah, normally since I don't have a guest after you, I would let it run for longer. But it seems like I think it'd be good to call it
It's perfect.
at this point. I don't know
Break.
what's going on with this old Chinese man over here.
I'm gonna get another
walking
drink
around.
too. I want to try one of these other ones, these fruity ones now.
PX, where can people find out about your dates and anything else you want to?
pxcomedy.org. It's like orgy minus the Y. I just got it. I just got the website this year, so I'm like super excited. It's gonna be revamped a little bit. I got shirts for sale. I haven't added that to my website, but yeah, check out pxcomedy.org. Instagram, PX Comedy, pretty much anything's PX
Well, what does the
Comedy.
PX stand for?
Paula Severa.
Wow, that's so Filipino.
I know, it's
So
super Filipino. I can't. That's the only thing that identifies me as Filipino. Other than that, when I tell people I'm Filipino, they're like, no, you're not. I'm like, no, I am. I
Sure
swear.
you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. You're Filipino. Yeah. No, but PX is definitely cooler. For sure.
Salamat.
I think it embodies, your whole thing, PX.
I don't look like Paula.
All right, people, thanks for listening and watching.
Thank you.
Hey guys, so thanks for tuning into the podcast, and a big thanks again to the fine folks at Sonity for letting us record the podcast here and for hooking us up with their delicious boba milk tea drinks. My wife Chris and I review boba milk tea spots all over the Bay Area. Believe me when I say that Sonity is definitely one of the best boba milk tea shops around. Make sure to follow them on Instagram at SAN as a Nancy and as a Nancy again, A19, that's sana.na19 on Instagram. And if you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, make sure to hit that follow/subscribe button and make sure to give us a 5-star rating to give us some algorithm love. Okay? Thanks for listening.